Okay, check this. We all love Contra, right? Classic series. It's one of the GOATs of the run and gun genre. Like there's nothing topping it. What happens when you mix Contra with dinosaurs? Well, you get Cadillacs and dinosaurs. Wait, no, that's the wrong game. It should come back, but that's the wrong game. Let's keep this train going. Let's forget I said anything. But what happens when you take the foundation of Contra, you sprinkle in a little flavor to it, add some humor, a dash of Parodius to Gradius, and then you present that to the public. And then you throw in some dinosaurs and spiders. What do you get? You get Spidersaurs. And that is what we're going to be talking about today, because Spidersaurs is one of the best games I've played in a long time. You guys know how much I love Contra. I absolutely love Blazing Chrome, and that came out 3 years ago. I can't believe it's been that long. And now we have a game that actually tops it and kind of sets a very, very high bar for if Contra decides to come back. And it's actually made by a company that has made a Contra game, being Contra 4. So with all that being said, let's go ahead and get into this review of Spidersaurs.
This wasn't written with your comfort in mind. Nah. Made my decision, wasn't tough to decide. Nah. Me and my boys, we get it done every time. Gotta earn it, you can't just jump in the line. You'll get rushed to the side. I top my division, I've been building since I started. In the parking lot, I parked it. I came in while picking targets. My career cannot be tarnished. I'm a champion regardless. Celebrate, but this a different kind of lucha party. We are not alike.
Before I kick this video off, I want to give a huge shout out and mahalo to WayForward Technologies for sending over the review copy of Spidersaurs, both for Nintendo Switch as well as for Steam. This is something that I truly love. Like, I love this game, and it's kind of crazy because, you know, as someone who grew up in that era of the run and gun, the shmups, the beat 'em ups, and the big, you know, the genesis of the fighting game genre, just seeing these titles that, for all intents and purposes, a lot of the mainstream core audience of gamers has like moved past, come back, and really find an audience with, you know, not only some of the mainstream, not all mainstream, but the majority of the mainstream, as well as the niche audience that's been holding on for this style of game to stay in the limelight, is absolutely fantastic. And so when it comes to WayForward, I really have a lovely relationship. I've gotten the opportunity to work with them on so many different titles and cover so many different titles, you know, and it's just amazing to me when I sit and I look at the work that WayForward has been doing for over 2 decades. They have been constantly putting out titles, from the Shantae series to the River City Girls series to, you know, now we got Spidersaurs, and there's so much more. They're even working on a Ruby title that's coming out. And it's just amazing when you see how WayForward, you know, you can tell that they're gamers. You can tell that they have a passion for the games that they create and for the genres that their games are birthed from. I mean, you look at Shantae, and that series has covered everything from the Metroidvania to being, you know, a Mega Man style game, and it's just constantly evolving and going further and further beyond what anything we can expect with each subsequent entry in that franchise. And that's really what's so cool about WayForward, is they can take genres like the shmup, the Metroidvanias, the platformers, the beat 'em ups, the run and guns, and they can just take them to that next level. And so with Spidersaurs, they're showing that again, that they are able to do that again. And I'm so excited to dive into this review. Before we do all that, gentle reminder for you to, if you enjoy the content I put out, from the Steam Deck tutorials, game reviews, tech reviews, reviews of the game and tech industry, such as, hey, I interviewed the director of this game, Tomm, who's very renowned in the video game industry. And you know, it's such an honor to just interview him and talk to him about this game and the process that went into it. And if you want to check that out, I have links for that as well in the description down below. But if you want to support the content that I put out, all of that I've listed on, make sure you sub to the channel, ding the notification bell. And if you want to support further, we do have channel memberships as well as Patreon, so go check those out and get some insider access to the content I'm making, especially if you want to support a Hawaii local boy. But all that being said, we're going to go ahead and dive into this video review for Spidersaurs, because I think as much as I'm gushing about it right now, you guys are going to understand when we get into this review why I love it so much. So let's not waste any further time. The story of Spidersaurs, it doesn't take itself seriously. It's also very self-aware of the ridiculous nature of the events that are going on. However, it does touch on a few real-life situations such as global warming and world hunger, and utilizes it in a very well thought-out way in the sense of utilizing this organization in a game called Ingest Corp, which is a food manufacturer that decided to solve world hunger issues, so they say, by creating beings known as Spidersaurs, which is a hybrid being of dinosaurs and spiders with, while being high in nutritional value. Again, so they say. The Spidersaurs end up escaping, and so it's up to our protagonists Victoria and Adrian to stop them, as well as chow down on them along the way. When it comes to games following the Contra formula, many don't stray far from what was accomplished in Contra 3, the Alien Wars, or Contra Hardcore, as many will just throw an endless wave of enemies at you and give you the standard power-ups of a spread shot, machine gun, flamethrower, and send you on your way. You typically need to avoid getting hit, as you normally only have one time to get hit before you die, and have very few lives, let alone continues. The formula for Contra and the run and gun genre as a whole hasn't really changed or evolved since the release of, truthfully, Contra 4 about 15 years ago, where it gave the traditional options along with a new mechanic that allowed you to fire a zipline upwards to catch on ledges and give you new methods of traversal. Because WayForward, along with Tomm Hulett, created Contra 4, it only makes sense that a lot of what we experience in Spidersaurs is carried over from that game some 15 years later. In Spidersaurs, you not only have your standard run and gun gameplay a la Contra, and also you could say Gunstar Heroes, but you also get access to new abilities after you beat each stage boss, as you'll gain the ability to scale walls, double jump, fire a spiderweb like zipline, which is a callback to Contra 4, dash, and more. The game also stands apart from the genre and its main inspiration in that it gives you a 3-stock health bar, which is truthfully a feature originally seen in Contra the Hardcore, which was the Japanese version of Contra Hardcore, alongside lives, which makes getting through levels a little easier, but not by much, as the game still provides plenty of challenge. When it comes to weapons, you have a variety to choose from, along with getting a super shield to protect you as you progress through levels. Victoria and Adrian get access to different weapons such as lasers and the like, while Adrian gains access to a flamethrower and more. You'll still have your standard shot, spread shot, machine gun, grenade gun, and more. And while all of that is cool, Spidersaurs differs in how it incorporates this power-up system, which is similar more so to shmups or shoot-em-ups, in the way that if you collect more of the same power-up, then your weapon becomes stronger and takes on additional properties like range and the width of the attack, with the trade-off being that every time you get hit, your weapon powers down until it gets to its base form, when you're only at 1 bar of health left. At the start of every mission, you get to select what type of screen nuke or super bomb that you'd want to use, which range from fireworks, rain, and flash. Each has different properties of how they activate and the range in which they attack enemies and fill the screen. Outside of weapon power-ups, you can also gain health restoratives in the form of roasted meat that will appear at times when you defeat certain enemies that will fully restore your health. Levels aren't particularly long and are usually over within 4 to 9 minutes, give or take, with a mid-boss and end-level boss to take on. Levels vary from your standard run and gun side-scrolling levels to auto-scrollers with you on a vehicle, or in this case, a dinosaur. Enemies that you run into vary from the standard rush attack and the ones that die within typically one hit, all the way to the annoying swooping style enemies and more that will take several shots to take down. Mid-bosses don't take much time to take down, but will require you to watch their patterns to see from what direction that they will attack and maneuver from. These encounters usually consist of room-wide areas, allowing you to utilize your various moves and techniques to topple them. End-level bosses are often bullet sponges that have anywhere from 4 to 5 phases and variations on those for you to deal with. Many of the bosses will remind you of bosses that you've encountered in Contra or even Gunstar Heroes, with a lot of the same attack patterns, albeit with some unique twists thrown in. The game allows for a single player or 2-player local co-op, which allows for a lot of fun craziness to occur, And there isn't any online mode or online co-op, so you'll be relegated to local co-op couch experience. Now, graphically, the game is a mixture of Shantae and various other WayForward properties, as the characters along with their vocal performances is all very WayForward-esque, and that's a good thing. The two main characters are Victoria and Adrian. With Victoria, she's a punk rocker with a devil-may-care attitude, while Adrian is a cop in training along with being a pizza delivery man. Look, he's got bills to pay. And is a paragon of justice. If you play Contra 4, then you'll recognize the movements of the characters, as Adrian and Victoria move the same exact way, and when I say that, they animate the same as Bill and Lance do in Contra 4, which again makes sense considering that that game was made by WayForward as well. The cast at Ingest, along with the Spidersaurs and villains, are all wonderfully animated in that iconic style WayForward is known for. The audio is really good, and the voice acting is really good and witty, with that classic WayForward style humor that's just spot on with the delivery. The OST is absolutely incredible and is done by the iconic Harumi Fujita, who have composed the OSTs for timeless games including Bionic Commando, Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers, and many other Capcom and various other companies' titles. Performance-wise, on the PlayStation and Xbox, the game runs at a smooth 60 frames per second at 1080p, while on the Nintendo Switch it runs at 1080p 30 frames per second docked and 720p 30 frames per second when it's in handheld mode. On PC, you can run the game at 1080p all the way up to 4K 60 frames per second and higher, and on the Steam Deck the game runs at a comfortable 720 up to 800p at a silky smooth 60 frames per second. Of all the platforms the game runs on, I do find the Nintendo Switch version to be the most disappointing, as the game isn't supremely taxing and happens to be another situation where a game runs its worst on the Switch. Now, normally this would be the section where I would talk about the downsides of the game, but honestly, I can't really think of any that hamper the experience. I mean, sure, the game would have been cool to have an online co-op mode, but that isn't necessarily a make or break it for this style of game. Aside from the performance on the Nintendo Switch, the other issue I have with the game is the fact that it has some input lag on the Nintendo Switch, which, along with the 30 frames per second, makes the game feel a bit sluggish. Hopefully that can be patched to run at a smooth 60 frames per second, but as it is, it's kind of the worst platform in my opinion to play this game on. Now, in wrapping everything up, Spidersaurs has a lot going for it, from an incredibly fun and lighthearted story, which has WayForward's touches all over it, to its easy to pick up and play controls and brilliantly vibrant art style that just pops. If you've got that itch for some run and gun Contra style action that has a ton of replay value in limitless chart, then Spidersaurs is the game that you need to be playing, and is a modern day gem that you should not miss. And that's it, that's the review for Spidersaurs. Again, shout out Mahalo to WayForward Technologies for providing a review copy of the game for both Nintendo Switch as well as Steam. And I gotta say, WayForward, I love you guys, and I really appreciate being able to work with you again on this title, and for all the opportunities I've had just in general, just my friendships with a lot of you guys there. It's just truly amazing. And yeah, this game is honestly just one of the best games that I've played in some time, and you don't really see a lot of Contra style games coming out anymore. I mean, like I said, I listed off, you know, Cuphead, I listed off Blazing Chrome, both excellent titles, and Cuphead is still getting DLC to this day, years after release, but it's still a genre that really still needs a lot of love, and honestly I can't think of a company better than WayForward to tackle that, and they've done so very well. Now granted, this game does still have its mobile, you know, roots all over it, and I hopefully, you know, if they do make a sequel to this game or they do expand upon this, it gets more of a, you know, a full-blown effect, because the levels can feel kind of short. But beyond that, this is an amazing title that I think you should pick up, and at this point I really want to know what you guys think. Have you picked up Spidersaurs? What platform are you playing it on? Did you originally play it on Apple Arcade when it was available over there, which I believe it still is? And, you know, just your general input. Did you like it? Did you love it? Do you hate it? Whatever your thoughts are, let's get the conversation going in the comment section below. And if you want to take the conversation further, we do have Discord as well as Guilded, with links for both in the description below. If you enjoy the content I put out, if you enjoyed this review, you enjoy the reviews, the game tech, you know, introspectives, reviews, podcasts, and all that other stuff. I know I said reviews a lot. I'm kind of stumbling over my words, but if you enjoy all of that, then make sure you sub to the channel, ding the notification bell, and also consider becoming a channel member or a Patreon today. That way you get, insider and early access to content that I'm working on, input on upcoming content, and so much more. If you want to pick up some cool swag, we do have merch over on Teespring and TeePublic, so go check those out as well. And all that being said, that's it. That's a wrap. That's all I gotta say. I hope you guys have a blessed and aloha rest of your day. Again, shout out to WayForward for the opportunity to cover this. And outside of that, I'll see you guys on the next one. Stay safe, stay blessed. Have some aloha in your life. Make sure you, whatever you do, go with some aloha. And I'll see you on the next one. Peace. Mahalo for your time. If you found this episode to be incredibly enjoyable, informative, or if there's anything you gain from it, or any insight, or anything that's good that you really, really enjoy, make sure whatever platform you're listening to it on, or if you're watching it, leave a comment if that's available on the platform, like it, share it around with someone you think would enjoy it, and give us some feedback, because your feedback is exactly what we need to keep this show going. And if you're wondering what are some ways that you could support the show, we got various ways. We've got Patreon, we have channel memberships over on YouTube, as well as Subscribestar, Coffee, and so much more. Links for everything will be in the description. Check that out. And with all that being said, I hope you have an aloha rest of your day.
Let them know that I'm next level. I'm a whole new kind of guy. Yeah. Yes, at the top spot in case you forgot. We the ones that got the block hot, bullet got the shot. Yeah.